this session. Now, Joy says, in relationship, what really comes first? So, like when you see a girl, she looks nice, but what exactly you are feeling? Love or just moment of happiness? Just moment of happiness, I mean the moment of admiration. Well, Joy, this is a very good question, just like the one before from Saul. Let me read that question one more time so I can really sink into it. Joy says, in relationship, what really comes first? So like when you see a girl, she looks nice, but what exactly are you feeling? Love or just moment of happiness? I see. Well, you know your program, we're talking from boys' point of view. So if there are girls listening to this, that's really, at this point, we're talking from boys' point of view because the question's coming from a young man. You are programmed for procreation. And because you're programmed for procreation, that itself has a certain process and certain synchronization, certain things that happens. And let me explain further. You're programmed for procreation. It's in your gene to want to be with a woman. And when you see a woman, what you feel is a notion of fulfilling your desire, which through that desire you feel really great because your ego is fluffed. But most important, you're pursuing your desire because that's your programmed to pursue. And what happens is the ingredients of how desire shapes, because it's not like you see a girl and then suddenly you feel happy, because many girls you see and you don't feel the same way because you don't, the desire is not created by being near them or looking at them somehow because it doesn't suit your expected physical attributes or whatever else that you expect from a woman to look like or to be or behave. But let's talk about the woman that you actually like the look, and let's go through the process of what happens to you, that you feel happy. And that certainly is not love. Let's put it this very clear. When you see a woman that you're interested and you feel happy, certainly that is not love. Don't make that mistake. If anything, that's lust. But let's go through why you feel happy. First of all, as I mentioned, you're programmed for procreation. It's in your genes to want to pursue that female. And if the female allows and accepts, in this day and age we have learned to be civilized, it's not like 1,000 years ago. So let's say all that is okay. So we're talking about the all the right things to be. It's a good environment, positive environment, and it's the approach is reciprocated from both sides, and both are in legal age, and they both are properly introduced and whatever. But before all of that happened, let's just focus on the scenario that you put in. This is what happens when you see a pretty girl. It is no different. I don't mean to demean a woman or a girl or whatever. It's just a way to deliver the exact process that happens in you, in a man, in a person, when the desire arises. So you see this woman, you see this girl. It's no different than if you're in an auto show and you see a car. You see a nice red car or whatever color you like from the distance, and you're attracted. Your eyes connects with that car, and you go further, you go closer. Now the sensory is coming to the picture. Your eye catches the car, but you go closer. So far so good. You just recognize that it's a car, that's all. It's a nice car, that's all. But there's no desire yet. You go closer and you touch the car. You sit in it, smell the newness of the car, You go around, the hood is up, you look at the engine, you come back in and sit behind the wheel, and then the sensories, the images is created. The image of you driving the car and how you would look like when you're driving, how other people will see you in your mind, what image you will have of you when you're driving the car. And that's when the desire is born. And then you want to, drive the car, get to know or buy the car and stuff. Now, coming to a relationship is kind of similar. The process is similar. Of course, it's a different level, but the process is similar. You see a girl, you see a very beautiful girl to you. Each person is different, but you see a beautiful girl to you. And then you recognize that you're interested, it's what you're interested in, it's what you like, that kind of a physical attribute or looks. So you go closer and you introduce yourself and you guys get into a conversation. That whole energy exchange as that moment, in words and in the energy that we talked about, that our life is made out of physical and key energy, and the energy comes into the picture in this exchange of communication while you're talking to her, and you guys get to know each other and find things in common. And of course, that whole idea of promise of liking each other or creating a friendship, and the promise of intimacy that goes along with the program that you have in your genes, and both will have in your genes. That now, if suddenly, let's say you guys end up just holding each other's hand and walking, or looking at each other's eyes, and then energy exchange, it's like the same process of the sensories coming into the picture. And then you imagine the comfort and how wonderful you would feel, the way it looks to have such a girlfriend, to have such a good friend, such a good communication, and things that you guys can do together, play tennis, go on a date, a movie or dinner. And of course, then if there is there's a touch that with the promise of intimacy comes into picture and all that, then desire is created. And that is the process that you make a mistake and you think this happiness is love. Still is not love. Love only is created when you bond on consciousness level and you actually understand each other, spend time, exchange many different things that you could do. And once you bond on consciousness level, that's a real love. The rest of it is basically lust. And if that interest of desire and lust included is not used to turn into love and bonding on conscious level, then it will eventually be kind of going backward and doesn't get anywhere. It may take a few years, but when there's never a real bonding on the conscious level, then it all just goes to thinking that, oh, that's not the right person, right girl, or the girl thinks that's not the right guy, and all kinds of excuses. Lo and behold, they never actually tried to fall in love by getting to know each other on a conscious level. It was all physical, and that physical is only a default of what a man likes to see and to be with a girl, and the girl the same way. It's not really love, it's just the program for procreation. And there's a difference between love and that. And now, is there really such a thing as love, or it's all about procreation? That's another story, another question, another time. So I hope that is something you could find as an answer here.